Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Christina Holloway here, and today we're going to talk about working with an incompetent boss. We're going to talk about 5 things to keep in mind when dealing with an incompetent boss, and I'm going to give you 2 examples from my client work so you can get an idea of how these situations can play out. Real quick, if you enjoy watching my content and find this video helpful, make sure you give the big thumbs up and hit the like button. I'd really appreciate it. Okay, so let's get started. There are 5 factors we want to consider once we realize we're dealing with someone who, for lack of a better word, is working against us and the whole team actually. So you may notice it with little things first, like ignoring your advice, making decisions that leadership disagrees with, not taking other points of view into consideration, and my favorite, acknowledging that a failure belongs to the team, but a win belongs to the leader. Wrong. Bad. So let's start with these 5 assumptions that will help you deal with an incompetent boss. Number 1, take time to understand the situation your boss is facing. I've mentioned this before, but it bears repeating. This isn't about seeing a situation from your boss's point of view. It's about seeing the situation in a different way that gives you a fresh or new perspective. For example, your boss might be making strange mistakes and getting feedback that these mistakes are problematic. You may feel like this person is naive or incompetent. It's also possible that your boss is being groomed or mentored by someone who believes there's room for improvement and has faith in your boss. With new information or just a new assumption about the situation, you can work toward finding solutions where you felt stuck before. In particular, ask the question, where do you need help, or how can I be helpful here? Number 2, I know, you really want to bitch about it. You really want to unload and tell someone, and you especially want others around you to start observing and having the same experiences and opinions that you do. Resist this urge. I've been there. We've all been there. I've gone down this path, but in hindsight, it doesn't help others see you as a problem solver or a leader. You just become a colleague who complains. If you feel you really need to talk, look outside the organization, friends, family, spouse, mentor, coach, therapist, anywhere where you're on neutral ground. Also, take the time to unload in a way that helps you process your feelings and consider ways to solve your problem. Number 3, problem solving should involve you. When we're in a reactive state, we want very badly to take the easy route. If my boss would just change, things would be so much better for me. Well, sure they would, in a perfect world. But you're not facing this frustration because this person is an incompetent pain in the butt to everyone. This is because your boss is incompetent from your perspective. The entire point here is that we want you to see this person as less of a burden you need to carry and more of a roadblock you need to work around. This person annoys you for specific reasons. Ask yourself what's really going on. For me, an incompetent boss, and I've had many, would be tedious, micromanaging, illiterate, or poor at communicating instructions. Why? Because those are the things about myself that I would never tolerate. So if I set the bar this high for other people, I'm certainly going to be disappointed in a few of them. But I'm especially going to be disappointed in someone that I trust to lead me and ensure that I'm successful in my career. Ask yourself which of your assumptions about excellence can be flexible or negotiable in order to find a path forward. That leads me into number 4, start managing expectations. If you've set really high standards for yourself and those around you, and you're finding that your boss is really not meeting those standards, then you might want to ask yourself what you can do to help your boss rise to that level. This is about managing up in the organization, and it helps you develop really clear communication skills. It allows you to create boundaries with your boss, share more wins, and become a valuable member of the team. Of course, this depends on how much time you want to invest in helping this person develop their leadership skills. If you find, however, that your career success depends on this person really advocating for you, then it's completely reasonable to become a trusted asset that will help your boss look good. And number 5, in the end, always make sure you keep your career development and well-being in sight. at all times. You may find that you've considered all of these points and that the situation is not getting better, or that your incompetent boss indirectly has created roadblocks to your success, and that no matter how much you work towards repairing the situation, you will need to move away from this person. And I'm here to tell you, if you've come to that conclusion, it's fine. It actually will feel like a relief once you finally decide to make a move. In my coaching, I remind my clients that it's their careers on the line. If they've spent a large amount of time telling me about an unworkable situation, then I'm eventually going to ask, what do you want to do about it? Without fail, an exasperating situation can only end one way, and they will choose to leave. Now, that doesn't mean marching into the office or a Zoom and announcing your departure. That means creating a clear path to moving out of the department, sending out feelers for other opportunities, or even dusting off that resume and putting yourself out there for new work. All right, so those are the 5 assumptions that we want to address when we're working with someone who could be frustrating, incompetent, and a general pain in the neck to work with. Now, the biggest advice that you might hear from colleagues and friends and people who care about you is just leave. I've solved your problems, just leave the situation. Sure, that could work, and yes, that might be the end result for you, but it doesn't always need to be. So here are 2 situations from my clients and how we dealt with it. My first client had a pretty high position in the company, and her boss tended to get overwhelmed when she shared updates. He didn't listen to what she was saying and would usually cut her off mid-sentence to give her advice, which she didn't ask for, just to solve her problem. And this didn't help her develop her leadership skills, and she really wanted to find a way to position herself as useful to her boss, instead of the way he perceived her, which was that she always showed up with problems that he needed to fix for her. Her solution that we worked on together was to slow down when she spoke to him, because she realized that she'd talk very fast and blow through the situation, leaving out important information. Eventually, she developed a framework for giving him updates. She'd explain what they were going to discuss, talk very slowly about the situation, and then ask him specifically to give her feedback on specific areas. Here's the situation, here's how I'm dealing with it, and here's where I need help. And this helped her. She was able to really manage his expectations, and she started working more effectively with him. He realized that she really wasn't a house on fire that he needed to spray with a fire hose. That was her analogy. Okay, so my second client is a specialist in her field. She agreed to take a job where she was going to contribute her expertise in her job, and she had authority to make decisions based on her expertise and her authority in this field. That unraveled quickly. She had a boss who started to undermine her and undo all her hard work. He would interrupt her, he would belittle her accomplishments, and he really made it hard for her to be successful in her job, but also to appear competent in front of colleagues and clients. We worked together for a while, and it became clear that her boss was very insecure and threatened by her success, and she really wanted to make this work. We spent time finding methods to appear useful, deferring to him, helping him feel like he was part of the solution, anything that would change his assumptions around the fact that he saw her as a threat to his competence and more as an asset to his business. Nothing worked. In fact, in the end, he told her that he felt comfortable enough to take over her role, and he eliminated her position. He wanted to do it all, and I have to say that's just a bad business move, but that's his problem. In fact, my client had come to terms with understanding that she wasn't going to be able to change this situation. She had begun looking for other work when she found out her position was being eliminated. So this helped her make peace with the fact that it was never going to get better. Of course, she found a new job. She has a better working relationship with her new boss. It all worked out. All right, so that's it for my 5 assumptions you need to address if you're working with an incompetent boss. Let me know down below in the comments if you agree with any of these assumptions and if these are approaches you would do in your situation. If you enjoyed watching and found this video helpful, make sure you give it a big thumbs up and hit that like button, and make sure you're subscribed to my channel so you never miss another video from me. Click the subscribe button below and have your notifications turned on as well. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.